finishes on his feet. Behind him, Crosby Colapinto. Big assault on the pocket here. Throws that tail. He's going to hang on for the finish. I mean, the wave rolled off without him.
You know, you've had a really strong year on the Challengers already. You kicked off the year with a third at the Boost Mobile Pro Gold Coast, you know, lost to eventual winner Samuel Pupo. And then recently got a runner-up at the U.S. Open, you know, in the final, which Eli Hanneman won. There's two more stops on this year's CS. We got Ericeira and Saquarema. Are you thinking every day about potentially qualifying for the championship tour, or is it something you're trying to kind of keep out of your mind as you round the year out and make sure that you finish up in the top 10?
Yeah, it's definitely like a thought that's came in like every single day, like probably multiple times a day. But I like it because I'm right there, and you know, I feel like I'm kind of hitting my potential with contest surfing, and I kind of have like a formula that's been working for me. So I'm just excited, and this is like such a special moment to be sitting in this position that I'm in. So I'm just honestly like enjoying it and enjoying this time of kind of being like, oh, I'm right there to qualify.
You know, I've been at the ASP WSL for 18 years. And so when I started, it was all North America stuff. I got to go to all the Pro Juniors, all the QS events, and really had my fingers on the pulse in terms of like, we got to identify that person and this person. And then, you know, over the years started moving more internationally and then just doing other stuff at the company. So a little bit distanced from what's happening on the ground at these events over the last few years. And so I would ask, I'm like, well, like, man, you know, especially with the rise of the Brazilian Storm and kind of this resurrection of Australian talent with Ryan and Ethan and Jack and the like, Connor and Liam, on the men's side, I'm like, well, where are the Americans? You know, like, well, like who's next? And yeah, ask everyone. Ask, you know, agents and team managers and sponsors and journalists and da-da-da. And not to blow you up, but certainly for the last 3 years, every single person said Crosby Colapinto, Crosby Colapinto, Crosby. You got to wait for Crosby. He's going to be even better than his brother. And as someone who's been doing this for this long, it's like, okay, I'm going to calibrate this a little bit because there's always kind of a sibling bump where it's like, yeah, maybe they're good. Maybe it's just because of the last name or whatever. But you seem like you have delivered in force really with your own surfing. And it feels like your own surfing's taken huge leaps in a really short amount of time, like in the last 2 years, just watching kind of YouTube clips and past contests. What do you think has caused that? Do you think it's like a getting bigger physically? Have you been working on different things, sharpening your boards? And I guess to round all that out, have you noticed your own surfing change kind of radically in the last couple of years?
Oh, well, thank you. And yeah, I think like I had a real funny like time period because I felt like when I was in Pro Juniors, my mind was still young and I still wasn't thinking as much as like, and I was still kind of like not that great of a surfer, and still people didn't really know me, so I felt like I had nothing to lose kind of. And I started winning Pro Juniors and I was like, oh, this is sick. And then I hopped on the QS and then I was like kind of getting smoked, and then kind of COVID hit and I was able to go on some free surf trips, and brother invited me on that reckless isolation trip. So I got to improve my surfing a lot in those couple years of COVID. And then I came back into surfing QSs and I just was getting absolutely waxed because I was on like so many, like I just forgot about contests for 2 years, and I came back and then I started doing like these contests and losing. And then I had all these thoughts and my mind was kind of scrambled, and I was kind of just had like everyone was started to have like expectations out there that I was like going to qualify right away. And then I started like kind of letting those expectations carry on me, and I kind of was making it was like kind of weighing me down a little bit. And it would definitely like play into my head. But so then I kind of I kept losing, and I was just thinking like, what's going on? Like, I can't figure out how to make a heat right now. Like, and then I'd work on my surfing when I'd think that I needed to work on something for a contest and still run drills. And then I would go and lose another event. And it was kind of just felt like I was a little bit in a hole, and I was just kind of like, what's going on? Like, you know, I'd be in heats that I know for myself I should be making these heats, but I'll just lose because I think my mind wasn't in the right spot, and I think I was letting these expectations of myself kind of like weigh me down a little bit. And then I finally kind of realized like why I was losing so much, and like every time I lost, it felt like there was like something I needed to do, but like I don't think I was seeing it. And then finally I was like, okay, like I know my surfing's there. My surfing's good enough to make it, and I think maybe the one thing that's holding me back right now is my mental. So kind of like this last year, I've been working with Troy Eckert on kind of mental, and not only just for like contests, but just for life, just for like life in general. So, and I think as soon as I started doing that and kind of looking at life differently, and going into contests with like a calm mind, and figuring out what works for me, that's kind of when I started like make heats, and that's kind of like just this year I just figured this out, and being able to do the regionals and starting to like make heats there is how I kind of was able to like start a formula for what works for me, and just working on my mental and just trying to have like a calm state of mind for all these heats. And then it started working out. So now I'm all in on the mental stuff.